On today's episode of WatchJRGo, we make some more progress around the shop and hopefully get ready to say goodbye to this Cadillac Escalade. What is going on, guys? I am WatchJRGo, and today, like I said, we are here in the shop where a lot of stuff is going down at the same time. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but part of the recent theme is finishing up every project. You know, I usually have like 10,000 of them going on all at the same time. So we need to finish them up all at the same time so we can move on to some fun new stuff. And part of the fun stuff is the Escalade's locked. The seats, remember we swapped the whole interior? Well, there's a lot of issues with the seats. The front ones need the connector changed for their airbag. They use a different style connector. The center console needs to be swapped out. I've got a new one for that and I hadn't done that yet. The back seats are a complete disaster. We're working on that. Last night, we were here all night and we've basically got the second air conditioner done. I need to finish a few things up on it, like punching out the little plastic there on the end because we had to bring the line set out and over to miss the window, obviously. So you're gonna see the line sets out there sealed up, running across the yard, and maybe we'll have that done tonight and the second AC will be on. That's not the only thing that went down last night. My two Tesla universal wall connectors showed up. These are the new ones that I talked about before that can charge any car, well, any normal car, let's say. First of all, it's absolutely beautiful. I love the way it looks on the wall. If you want to charge your Tesla, you just pull out. And if you want to charge any other car, like your Volt or anything that has CCS, with the 1772, you push the button and you get a different connector. How awesome is that? Charge whatever you want. So that is the universal wall connector all set up and finished. No more wires hanging on the wall. And not only that, the digitizer just showed up for the Autel Elite. So let's get this put on here first to make sure this thing's working. And that knocks out a project that I've needed to do for 2 years. Well, there's no how-to here, so I'm just gonna how-to by feel, which is honestly kind of the best way to do it. There's the screen. We need to put that somewhere safe, right there. And now we got to remove this thing. So what do you do? It's got 3M double-sided tape around it. So I'm guessing if we just push, we'll get it. But we need to push with the gloves on in case this glass explodes. You can probably see the corner coming out. There it is. So we just need to continue that. I'm gonna put on gloves first. This is how it explodes and goes in your eye. Got the knife through. Broke again. I'm just gonna go yank this out over the trash can. After spending a lot of time sitting over the trash can with a razor blade, I've got this scraped out and the plastic really doesn't look that great, but I think it's gonna stick just fine. So let's go ahead and open up this digitizer, get it installed. It's nice because it has these notches right here to tell you where that has to be installed. So this goes just like that. So all we have to do is open it up and put the new glass in. So I guess we have to peel the back first. That makes sense. You really kind of have to be careful with this. If you push too hard on that screen, it's game over. Peel our 3M tape. One corner's in. Let's make sure there's, there we go. This could definitely use another one of those factory style screen protectors. That's for sure. It's all back together. Are we done with the Max Assist Elite? This makes it go faster like an Etch-a-Sketch. You guys know that. It works. Now, obviously the top part of the screen is what didn't respond before. So that's what we need to jump in here and make sure all of that works. It's still booting up, so it takes a little bit. We're gonna leave this on forever. Also, I think if I reinstall the operating system like I did on my 808, this one gets much, much faster too. It worked. Cool. the Max Assist is back and ready to be put into service, and I can use the oscilloscope. That's what we were waiting on the whole time. Now, I know I mentioned the seat problems with the Escalade before. Obviously, we got a whole new interior with all new seats. The old seats were horrific. The new seats look way better because you remember all of the leather was straight up missing on the ones that were in here. It was pitiful. They're actually over there. I can show them to you. But then we changed the middle row of seats as well. And the middle row of seats, these look great, and I put them in, and they wouldn't bolt all the way in. The front 2 bolts would go in, but the back 2 wouldn't. Because apparently there are different floor styles between what's probably the Tahoe and the Suburban, or the Escalade Standard and the Escalade ESV. This is the long wheelbase. So when I went to bolt in those seats, they wouldn't fit. You can see right here, this is the step I'm talking about. The front bolted right in, and of course all the electronics worked just like they should because it does have a motor. It's like a wiper motor or a window motor right there that actuates these cables that causes this to flip forward automatically when you push a button. Obviously, you're spending 100 grand on a car, you do not want to have to open the seats by yourself, and Cadillac took care of that for you. You push a button and it automatically does all the manual stuff for you. Or you can do it manually. Either way, it's kind of nice. But like I said, the front bolts went in and the back bolts wouldn't go in because they simply don't reach. So I did what you would expect to do. I took these things apart, which they have these gigantic springs in them. It's a huge job, but I separated the base from the seat and I swapped them over and I put them back together, and now they're bolted in. But guess what? That still doesn't work. They actually changed the big hooks that the seat snaps into on the base between the 2 designs, which is insane. So we have to take the seats back out, grind those hooks out, and weld them back in with the old metal hot glue gun. The new seat base is on, totally bolted in, works perfectly, electronics work, but when you bring this down, it doesn't line up at all. Fortunately, those hooks have a bunch of extra metal under there, so you can actually slide them back, reposition them, and weld them back in. I may not have to break out the welder at all. It looks like the latches themselves may change, and those latches are slightly farther back with a slightly taller standoff as well. So there's a bolt here under the plastic and a bolt here, and that gets the entire latch off, and then you can twist it and the cable pops out, the release cable, and then we can swap them. So I've got the plastic off of this one already. It's laying over there by the other seats, and there's the 2-inch taller standoff. I'm gonna go grab a socket and an extension, and we'll start swapping these out and see if that solves our problem. If it does, we'll just change all the plastics to the ones from the old seats, and we'll be good to go. 17, looks like we need a 16 or a 15 to do this job. The standard GM socket, a 15 to change the seat hardware. Well, the Escalade isn't going easy, but I'm not going easy on it either. I'm not giving up. So I've got one mocked up. Let's take a look. This latch is on there, hooked up, and that top bolt's sitting in there and the bottom bolt's kind of in. So now let's do a little fitment check. See what we get. Boom, that is what we wanted right there. And it'll be the correct height for this bracket instead of the height for the bracket that comes up. When I started taking the tall brackets off of the old seat, the nutsert, which is welded inside this channel, this is box tubing. It's crazy strong. That one held on just fine, and that nutsert ripped right out of its hole. So I had to sawzall the head off the bolt and then knock it off there with a punch to get the rest of it off. So I finally got one off. Hopefully this one's not as hard. We're about to find out. I'm gonna swap the second bracket and then we can start reassembling the back seats and we'll have one project down. There's more to go. Center console, front seat airbags, all kinds of stuff. Well, I'm not sure if you guys noticed or not, but both of the bolts just broke their nutserts off. So now I get to sawzall 2 times. Luckily, the demo blade's cutting right through these bolts, otherwise we'd be in trouble. Both of the new brackets are bolted on. Let's do some testing here. So here's what we thought we were gonna have to re-weld, our brackets down here. It looks like they both caught. And does it release? Hey, all right, let's put some plastic back. I thought this was gonna be a way bigger problem than it was. Who knows how long it would have taken me to move those things and measure and weld, and a lot longer than that. All right, final back seat test. Let's hit the switch. That's what I'm talking about. Let's put the plastics on. I got the bottom on. Now the sides snap on and you put the manual handle in and you're done. It's been so long I didn't even remember why we were working on the airbags on these seats, and then I figured it out. The airbag connectors on these seats were simply cut off, so that green and white wire there have been gone since the day I bought the new seats. Red and green are the wires coming out of the old driver's seat. So let's strip the wires in the new seats that are in the truck, see what the resistance is. If it's the same, we're gonna heat shrink solder. Obviously, we'll use the soldering seals, and then we'll snap the connector back on there and we should be good to go. All right, the other seat was 2.26 ohms. Let's see what we get over here. I gotta find a way to do this one-handed. That's the fun part. 2.2, that's good enough for me. Let's put the connector on here and that should clear the airbag light. All right, we got our connections made with our solder and seal connectors there. The original connector to the car is plugged in. Here we go, guys, the dangerous part. Just to make sure, if anything happens, I'm gonna stay far away from the seat and on, and I'm out. I don't think anything's gonna happen. You need to update to a new version. All right, let's get the codes. I'm gonna skip right to the good stuff here. Here's SRS, trouble codes, and hopefully the driver's seat code is history now. Oh, look at that. Since cleared, passed, history, last test, passed. And the passenger seat, current, failed. All right, erase codes. This thing definitely shouldn't have crash data or anything like that. All right, we're gonna fix that one here in a second, and one more light will be off the dash. Let's keep going. There's no evidence this thing was ever wrecked. It might have been beat on, but it's clean, you know, from a body perspective, it's pretty clean. It's a very rough clean. They might have had someone back into a parking bollet or two with the back bumper, but the airbags haven't ever deployed and nothing's ever really been fixed on it. So, no crash data or anything like that to worry about, just a bunch of seats that, well, the new seats, somebody cut the connectors off. I don't know why, but we're putting them back on. Just finished soldering up the passenger seat. I think we're probably good to go. Look at that, we're good to go. Passenger seat side airbag deployment loop open is now a history code. Let's clear the codes, and that should get our airbag light off the dash, and we can move on to whatever's left, which is not much other than the parking sensors. The parking sensors, I gotta get rid of that code. Let's take a look at all the codes that are left. Might take a minute. Well, it's not much, that's for sure. At least nothing that matters. SRS should be happy. If it's there we go. SIR and ECM and TCM are happy. And let's take a look at the report. Skip. I'm glad they added that skip button. It didn't used to be there. And anything important? PCM indicated traction control, but it's history. Brake boost regulation, pressure, history. You know, I think the battery on this thing is actually, yeah, the battery is trash. I saw a message the other day after just a few minutes shutting down due to low battery. Everything in here is a history code. Well, that's good. It sat for a long time, I gotta be honest. There was one day where Brian drove it as like a loaner when we went to pick up the Huracan. It was broken in Arkansas, we trailered it back, and then he needed something to drive, so I was like, take the Escalade, man, it's free and you can't hurt it. So he drove it around for like 2 days. That's been a month and a half, maybe almost 2 months, and this thing basically sat ever since. So it's very upset that it hasn't ever been driven more than 5 minutes in 2 months. So we're gonna get this all finished today, try to finish up the park assist right now, and that's the whole to-do list. Snap a bunch of random trim back in. Do you guys remember how bad this thing used to be? Every light was on the dash, and now we have parking assist blocked and the hatch open, and the hatch is open. So all that's left really is getting the parking sensors to shut up. It turns out this parking sensor right here was very blocked. I pulled that connector out and this was left in the car. So these parking sensors, they just snap into the bumper. I think it's the same one GM has used forever. You guys have seen me fix them before on the channel. If you remember like the Avalanche video where I rebuilt an entire string of rear parking sensors because same deal, it had been backed into poles and stuff like that. And eventually they'll end up snapping the parking sensors off like this one did. So I'm gonna run to the house where I have spares from the Avalanche. We'll grab one of those, plug it in, and we should have every light off the dash. We should have no parking sensor problems, no nothing. So this one, straight in the trash. 3 pins, looks like a pretty standard sensor. Let's go get some parts. You know, I've wanted to throw this box away like 100 times, but when you need them, look at that. GM sensors that they charge like $130 each for. 3 pins, looks like the right one to me. I'm gonna clean it up and we'll snap it in. Of course I grabbed the dirtiest sensor, that's on me. But now, if we just go like this, it looks like the wires are in good shape. So, wait, does it go the other way? Sure does. Look at that. That ought to stay. The tab is long gone, but it's, I had to pull this out with pliers and it took a long time. Let's snap this into the bumper and make sure the air is gone. Have we succeeded in rebuilding an Escalade? Sure, I've still got some trim to snap in, like I said before, but if the lights are off the dash, we've won. Ah, parking assist blocked. I wonder, maybe we need to clear the codes for that module. Upon further inspection of the back bumper, that doesn't look very good either, does it? I figured I'd feel in there and see if there were any others that seemed like they were broken. Immediately, another one was broken. So, back to the house we go. I hope I've got one more. I used to have quite a few of these, but if I don't, we're in trouble. Hopefully I've got one more to replace this one, and hopefully that solves the problem forever. I swapped in the last sensor I had. There were no more left on the pull-out harness I had for the Avalanche. So, let's jump in here now and test it out. I started it up. We don't have an error. Look at that, no more parking assist blocked. So we'll go ahead and shut the door and put it in reverse, Terry. Backup camera should pop up and it should start beeping. How cool is that? It comes down and gets bigger to tell you you're about to hit something. Oh, and then it gives up. That's it, no more lights on the dash. I think we've made a driver out of the Escalade for real. I mean, honestly, it's been super reliable so far. And I did find the trim for that passenger rear seat that snaps around the front of the base when I was picking up the wiring harness for the sensors. And I will, of course, throw in that other center console, but we are calling it on the Escalade for now. Hopefully we never see this thing again. It might be sitting around for the next few videos, but it is going up for sale, finally. And everything works. It's super reliable so far. It seems like it even gets okay gas mileage. What's okay gas mileage? Just to make a number out of that. Oh wow, the mileage is 228, 228. That's a cool number right there. All right, gas mileage. 11.7, that's not great. Oh yeah, I kept resetting it to try to get it to 20. It needs a long highway drive where I reset it and then put like 1,000 miles on it. That will lock the gas mileage into like 18 miles a gallon. And call her done. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.WatchJRGo.com for cool shirts, not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. I can finally throw this away. I wanted to keep it for the plugs because you never know when you need more of these GM connectors, especially that one. But we're just gonna throw it away. Otherwise, I'll keep it for the rest of my life. Parking sensor basketball, anyone? He shoots. He scores! I actually didn't expect it. All right, throw this trim on here and center consoles and tomorrow job.